Tonight, we break down one of the most confusing witnesses that I have seen so far to appear at either Parliamentary Ad Hoc or the Madlanga Commission. And remember, we are competing with Brown Mkhwanazi. Now, Julius Mkhwanazi, he appeared nervous today. He was biting his nails. He was gulping down copious amounts of water. And I don't know why he was drinking so much water, because at some point he was gulping it down as though he had been in the desert for a while. Now, Julius Mkhwanazi, he is accused of some very bad things. And the image of the man we got today was someone who was perhaps confused, not being honest, but overall trying to talk his way out of a bad situation. And for a moment, his mask slipped. And I want to play the clip where his mask slipped. And I think that we got a glimpse of the real Julius Mkhwanazi.
Services,
yes,
saying this commission and members of public of this country, Deputy Chief of Police, Ray Hospice, presented a forged plan that he forged and presented to this commission. I'm going to present the real operational plan that I gave it to him when I was instructed to give him that plan.
I accept that.
Yes, I'm going to do it.
Commissioner Mkhwanazi, all I sought to do was to obtain from you the name of the person you say forged the document.
Yes.
That was all.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Humble apologies. Yes.
From alleged body dumping instructions to blue light scandals to relationships with the cat to explosive courtroom meltdowns where he accused advocate Sello of killing him, or he's going to be dead. I will clip in the clip below because I thought it was pretty funny.
Yes.
So you are suggesting then this is why you said the English that you did? I'm just checking. I don't want to misunderstand you. Okay. Lastly, let's
I'm dead. You are continuing to kill me whilst I'm dead.
I have no such intention, I promise you. I don't. Okay. Let's go to page 89, same document, just for clarity.
Now, welcome back to my channel. Remember to hit the like button. Remember to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already so that you don't miss out on any of the updates. And today we have to say to give Advocate Sello a bells. Give that lady a bells. She needs a bells because she cooked Julius Mkhwanazi today and she exposed him for what he is, which is, I believe, a liar. He was caught in so many lies that simply I lost track. And remember, our most chaotic witness so far has been Brown Mkhwanazi, but I don't think he came close even to what was happening today in court. Julius Mkhwanazi, like I said, he was nervous. His body language was, he was tapping his foot all the time, according to people who were in the courtroom. And also, he was very fidgety. And like I said, he was biting his nails. He was drinking water. He really did not want to be there. And as I say always, body language is speculative. It is subjective. But at the end of the day, it tells us a little bit about the person who we are going to be speaking about. The Julius Mkhwanazi that we have come to know through all of these allegations is someone who I thought in my mind would present as a bit of a villain. That is why I don't want you to be fooled by the image that he presented in court today. Because this man is accused of some very serious things. I'm going to briefly go over them. He is accused of those body dumping claims. Remember, it was testified from witness D that the EMPD officers, that they caught an alleged robber and they were teeing him. I can't say the full word for YouTube. And they went too far with the roughing him up. And what they did is that he ended up dying. And Julius Mkhwanazi apparently arrived on the scene. And he admitted in front of the Madlanga Commission today that, in fact, he did arrive on the scene, which I found very disturbing. But he was only there for 3-5 minutes and then he left. He didn't admit to telling them where to dump the body, which is what witness D said he did. He said, go take it to a mine shaft or a dam and get rid of the body, which I found was intense. And he also is accused of having a very close relationship with a certain channel favorite, Kat. So Kat is someone who is a central figure in a lot of these cases that we've been covering. Now, Witness X says Julius and Kat, they had all these WhatsApp chats together, and they would refer to each other as blood brothers. And then at one time, one of Kat's drivers, or his right-hand man, got involved in a speeding incident, and he basically asked Julius to take care of it, Please take care of that charge against my right-hand man. Make that speeding fine go away. He's also accused of being legally promoted or assigned to the position of Deputy Chief of Police. And this is something that Dr. Imogen Mhwanazi eventually did admit to yesterday. She said the appointment was in fact illegal. And we've since learned that he has been promoted to a commissioner. And a commissioner takes home a salary about 1.4 million rand a year in South Africa on average. We know that Dr. Imogen Mhwanazi, remember, she testified that she thinks that she increased his salary by 200,000 rand. So I was very surprised when he appeared in front of the Madlanga Commission today without a lawyer, without a legal representative. Did he really think that he was going to talk his way out of this in front of all those advocates and commissioners? And Judge Madlanga got visibly upset and irritated with him at one point. I think we all did. I mean, there was talk of headache tablets and grandpa powders being mistaken for substances. Let me tell you, Julius, I have to go and take a grandpa powder when I'm done making this video because of all the testimony that you spewed in front of us today. We need a refund. We need a refund for our time and our data after what you put us through today. And he is also accused of basically allowing the cat access to the EMPD through the Blue Light saga and through something else known as the Medicare 24 Boksburg agreement, which we are going to get into. So we've since learned that Julius has skyrocketed from brigadier to commissioner, and he was pushed towards senior management positions despite those 4 IPID complaints against him. And he seems as though he was shielded a lot by Dr. Imogen Mhwanazi. And Mhwanazi herself testified that initial promotion was questionable. Despite allegedly protecting him, she was forced to admit it in front of the commission yesterday. And remember, if we look at Chief Mapi's testimony, he was a man who, he was supposed to be running the EMPD, but next thing you know, Julius Mkhwanazi was thrown at him from nowhere. We know from the score sheet that he wasn't the best candidate. He didn't apparently do the competency, which he denied today. And what we also know is that he was just taking over the department. He was running it as though it was his own department. He was promoting people. He was refusing to give fingerprints. And he was making all these memorandum of agreements, these MOUs or MOAs. I'm going to refer to the two as interchangeably. And basically what this reveals that this is a man who was running the EMPD, and he was being shielded by Dr. Imogen Mhwanazi. And the reason why he was being shielded, we have to think about this, because 4 IPID complaints against him, that's a lot. And additionally, we also have to think about, was he shielded because of his relationship with the cat, which he wants us to think is not very close. But I'm going to tell you, in my own personal opinion, I think that it is a very close relationship. We have to start with the cat. And we always seem to go back to the cat. And I've been making my little board here. I'm going to make it into a digital one. But everything seems to go back to the cat, in my own opinion. And there are a lot of threads that we have to follow. But we have to talk a little bit about why Julius is trying to distance himself from the cat. And he slipped up a few times today, because the earliest records that we can appoint for him and the cat is probably about in 2021. And this is when he promoted or made the cat security team. Those 8 officers came to come and assist with security at the State of the City address. And there was no invoice, there was no payment. Remember, Chief Mapi testified that these people just rocked up. He didn't know who they were, and he was told that Julius will explain who they were. And this is important because Julius wants us to believe that these two are not close, but I think that they are very close. We know that Witness X testified that they had WhatsApps together, that they were referring to each other as blood brothers. And we have to think about the cat as well, because the cat is someone who, until 2018, he was sort of he had all these cases against him, many of them at Silverton Police Station, where his alleged buddy worked, and all these cases that were withdrawn, and they were very cartel-like behavior cases, cash and transfer, housebreaking, attempted murder, all of these other things that were withdrawn against him. And I think in 2019, Cat went legitimate. And he went legitimate tender entrepreneur style. And along with him going legitimate, I think that he took some people with him. And we got to trace this relationship to Julius Mkhwanazi and the cat because, in my own personal opinion, I think it goes back longer than what Julius Mkhwanazi is letting on. Now, the connections include, and Julius Mkhwanazi tried everything to distance himself from the cat today. He insisted that Medicare 24 Boksburg was how he was introduced to the cat. So Mike van Wyck's name came up again today. Now, Mike van Wyck, along with Carri-Ann Venter, were those two names that were mentioned by Cat during his testimony in front of Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee. He said that he was the owner of Medicare Tshwane and that Medicare 24 was the holding company. And that was owned by Mike van Wyck and Carri-Ann Venter. But do not let this fool you because a lot of newspaper articles I've found have indicated that this Mike van Wyck sort of acts like a spokesperson for Cat Matala. He acts as a spokesperson for his security company. He seems to be appearing a lot, sometimes as a legal representative, sometimes as a spokesperson. And he is appearing a lot. He helped investigate that kidnapping that happened at the same time that Jerry was kidnapped of another one of Jerry's business partners. Remember the wife and the son? That they were returned. So this Mike van Wyck is coming up a lot, and we are definitely going to go more further into him when we have more information. I do think he is going to appear before Madlanga and Parliament because of the name drops. And Julius wants us to believe that Mike van Wyck and Julius, like Mike van Wyck is how he was introduced to Cat because Mike van Wyck wanted to come and do business with the city through his company, Medicare 24 Boksburg. And that he came and he gave a presentation for the city. And then when Julius went to go and visit him in his company, he saw Cat's portrait hanging on the wall and as the wall of directors. Now, we know from Cat's own testimony that he was never director of this company. He had his own company that he was director of, that Medicare 24 Tshwane, whereas Medicare 24 Boksburg was all Mike van Wyck and Carri-Ann Venter. This is trying to put distance with the cat. Everyone has been throwing the cat under the bus. And he claims that these meetings were arranged through Mike van Wyck and that either Mike van Wyck or the cat, he got confused sometimes about who he was referring to. They offered these services free out of the goodwill, especially during election instability that was occurring at the time. This was in 2021. The DA and the EFF had just formed a coalition, and he mistakenly referred to the EFF as the Economic Freedom Front, which I don't think they will like personally. But anyway, what happened is that these services were supposed to be for policemen that were shot or were in accidents. And Medicare 24, out of the goodness of their heart, without anything giving back to them or without receiving anything, they were going to rush to the scene of crimes and provide free medical care for officers in the EMPD who had been shot, who had been run over. And I mean, Advocate Sello questioned him on this. She asked him, how many officers are there in the EMPD? And he was like 2.4 thousand. And she was trying to impress on him the financial obligations. And this was all going to be done in response to free branding, as well as advertising and the goodness of their hearts, which I for 1 second do not agree. And he claims that he briefed Chief Mapie about this. This is a claim that he denies. And documents that Julius submitted today indicate that this proposal was approved by the person who was in charge of the services. And we find out that the person who was in charge of the services was, in fact, him himself. So he was referring to himself in the third person as the proverbial we. But, this is just the start of where things start to get crazy. Now, with the blue light scandal, we got to talk about it. So Julius says that his SWAT team that was under him, which he didn't even know what that stood for, by the way, approached him with a proposal. They said that CAT was getting new vehicles and they wanted the old ones to be donated, or they suggested he go and speak about it. And he insists that he wanted to do this donation for the good of the city because they needed vehicles. And he went to someone known as Christine, and then Christine told him he needed a donation form. And then Revo Spies came, bad boy Revo Spies came on and said it can't happen. So in a stunning denial, Julius Mkhwanazi denies that he never received these vehicles and that there were no blue lights fitted in them. And this is in contrast to other testimony. We have testimony from an officer who said that he was instructed by Julius Mkhwanazi to fit these vehicles with blue lights. We know that these cars were allegedly registered with the city fleet. There are documents to that. And we know that Cat was in possession of them. Those Instagram reels of Mama Cat and her pups or her cubs or whatever they are, not the 9 of them, the 4 of them. I know he has 9 in total now, driving to and from the airport, going on the tarmac. I mean, this is highly irregular. Pulling teeth. They were pulling teeth today with him, but he finally admitted that, you know what, the blue light stuff, it actually is illegal. Only police cars are allowed to have them because you cannot have people impersonating police officers pulling people over. It is highly irregular. Now, another thing that happened is that Julius also failed to include his memorandum of agreement with CAT VIP in his evidence bundle. So he included the one with Medicare 24, which he says was with Mike van Wyk. And he would in a stunning revelation reveal that the MOA with CAT was actually forged. His signature was forged. He is not the author of that document. You know, the one that says that they have an endless working relationship with CAT VIP? He claims that his signature was forged. And when presented with a signature on another page, which he had submitted, he did not even want to compare the signatures. Like, the lies were just getting out and out of hand.
So you did something wrong by signing a document that does not make provision for approval by Chief Mapia.
Yeah, I accept 100%.
Yes.
I accept.
No, that's all I wanted
Yes,
to
I accept
establish
100%.
with you.
Yes.
And then let's go to page 88, same bundle.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Page 88.
Yes, yes.
And because we are now fighting over whether signatures are authentic, on page 90, is that your signature?
Yes, this one is mine.
So you don't have a problem?
No, I don't.
Now let's go back to 88.
But Chair, I don't remember me getting this document, you know?
Now, come on, Commissioner.
No, I want to be honest to you.
Come on, Commissioner.
No, I must be honest to you. Yes, I don't want to buy your face. I don't remember getting a communique around. As I've said that we never communicated formally about Madlanga.
No, but on page 90, that's your signature. So you signed the document. You've confirmed that already.
No. There was nothing that came from the Chief of Police to me.
It's not from Chief of Police. It's you to Chief of Police.
Let me read it.
Now, we know that he was suspended for 3 months after the blue light scandal broke. And we know that Mhwanazi allegedly intervened to bring him back early. And when he intervened, he said that, Revo Spies took over all his files. He gave his files to Revo Spies. And he came back and he said, you know what? I don't know where all my documents went because my laptop was tampered with. His firearm had allegedly been used by someone else, and he demanded a replacement. And we know that at this time, an IPID investigator told Colonel Tepper, who is the EMPD spokesperson, she has just been reinstated, that Julius is a dirty cop. And we dealt with what happened with the IPID investigation and Dr. Imogen Mhwanazi on this channel yesterday and the day before. We learned today from articles that Advocate Bahari, who was in charge of legal, has been suspended on full pay. So he is also supposed to come before Madlanga at some point. Now, we got to go into the body dumping revelations because Julius admits he arrived at that house. You know, that house where the robbery happened, and the EMPD members allegedly caught the robbery suspect and they battered him a bit and he ended up dying. Well, he claims that he never told them where to dump a body, or there was no body, but he went there to celebrate recovered stolen items, and he doesn't know anything about any bodies. And the timeline remains unclear with this. So that was just a flat denial on his part. When asked about the fingerprint, Revo Spies testified that Julius refused to be fingerprinted, and his officers below him also refused to be fingerprinted. And when confronted about this in a meeting, he lost his temper, which is, I believe, when the mask slipped, like I played at the beginning. He allegedly screamed at Revo Spies. He foamed at the mouth, and he called Imogen Mhwanazi, and they heard her talking loudly on the phone. And Julius Mkhwanazi said the matter's done now. There will be no fingerprinting. But today he says that he is willing to be fingerprinted. In fact, he wants to give his fingerprints, and that there were 775 sets of fingerprints that were taken. But you know what? The SAPS lost them. Nothing to do with him refusing that. Now, with regards to the competency test, Mapie says that Julius did not complete the test and that his score sheet didn't make him the top candidate. And Julius insists that he did complete the competency test, and that when he was promoted, there was a big fuss. Colonel Tepper was there because she is the EMPD spokesperson. She was there, and she even was like photographing everything. And this is in stark contrast to her testimony when she said, listen here, I thought the promotion was a bit sus because there was no celebration and there were no photographs taken. I mean, there should be easily to produce such photographs, right? And to have the metadata behind them. Now, let's talk a little bit about his behavior in court. So people in court and personally on the stream observed the following, and behavior is subjective. Body language is something that is extremely subjective, but it is important when we are assessing one's credibility. And he was showing signs of extreme agitation, defensive posture. He was heavily drinking his water, I think from nerves. He was nail biting, and he was tapping his foot like it was crazy. And when Kat was mentioned, these actions seemed to get considerably worse. Now, the biggest moment was the outburst. That is when I believe the mask slipped and we saw the true colors behind the man. Let's talk about the Medicare 24 problem, because this agreement between Medicare 24 and the EMPD would allow a private company to do some seriously suspicious things. They would be allowed to test seized substances. I can't say the full word for YouTube. To dispose of seized substances, to take blood from drivers, and to assist in raids. And this aligns with predictable cartel behavior. But Julius says that it's all about saving lives. We know that one of the ways that the cartel gets substances is from those that are confiscated from the police. So this raised huge red flags in my mind when the testimony was gone over today. Now, Madlanga got visibly irritated with Julius Mkhwanazi at one point. He was pushing him to confirm that there was no formal working relationship, or whether there was a forming working relationship between CAT VIP or other security companies before October 2001 when that memorandum was signed. And he did not want to answer that question. He was doing everything that he could to avoid answering that question. And we know that he has been involved in perhaps problematic relationships with security companies before these are the accusations that have been presented. And Madlanga got visibly irritated with him, and much of like how most of us, I think, were feeling.
This letter serves to confirm that the Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Police Department, under the command of Acting Deputy Municipal Police Commissioner Brigadier J.T. Mkhwanazi of Specialized Services, open quote, has an endless working relationship and Memorandum of Understanding with CAT-VIP. That last bit because it refers to the existence of a working relationship. And what I should also emphasize here is that the letter is dated 16 October 2021. Now you'll understand why I asked you a good few questions around 15 October 2021 and 16 October 2021. Now, so you accept that if this letter is proved to be authentic, there would have been a working relationship which you describe, or which the writer describes as endless, as at 16 October 2021. Okay. I'm not saying you're wrong.
No, I'm not talking about this.
I'm just saying, do you accept that if this letter is proved to be authentic, it tells us that as at 16 October 2021, there was an endless working relationship brought about by a memorandum between CAT-VIP protection and the Metro. Do you accept? I'm not saying it's written.
No, I understand,
I'm saying if proved.
Yes.
Do you accept that? That's what,
Commissioner, you remember?
That's what it tells us.
Okay. Remember, Commissioner, the to-do list, it was about standard operational procedure.
Yes.
You see. That means developing the way we are going to work operationally, or the relations. I think we summarized it correctly when we talk about the relationship. It was not about SOP,
So this
MOU.
This one you are saying would have been a different relationship altogether.
Yeah, it will be different.
It's not what you are talking about,
Yes.
paragraphs 15, or rather paragraph 28.
Yes,
Something
yes.
different.
Yes,
altogether.
yes. Standard operating procedure where we sit and develop something that will assist us in terms of your court, in terms of arresting procedure, all those things.
Okay, all right. That notwithstanding, the simple point would still be that there was not in existence yes or no? Had it changed?
Yes.
Overnight?
Not overnight.
15 October 2021, 16 October, that would be overnight. Had anything changed?
Can I explain, Commissioner? You tell me, no, you're losing it.
What had changed?
You see, remember I've said there was a communication. We're communicating.
What had changed?
But it was not.
Commissioner, you've spoken about the communique, and I asked you questions around it, and I didn't follow what you were trying to say. I am saying, what had changed? It's a simple question. What had changed from the 15th of October 2021 to the 16th of October 2021, the very following day? What had changed? It's a simple question.
Are you saying in terms of the numbers or?
In terms of the answer that you gave when I first engaged you, I asked you if there was in existence any formal arrangement with any security company for it to provide security services to the Metro. I'm talking 15 October 2021, and you said there was not.
Commissioner,
correct?
Can I correct you on something?
I'm asking you this for the third time now.
Yes.
Is it correct that you said, no, there was not, as at 15 October 2021? Am I correct that you said so? Yes or no?
No, I think we were losing it. Can I clarify something?
No. I'm losing nothing. I want to know whether you said so or not. There's nothing I'm losing.
No, can I clarify something? You'll get me.
No. Please answer the question. Did you or did you not say so? Remember, you've already said more than once. You've already said more than once that there wasn't But I'm repeating the question now because when I go to the 16th of October 2021, you confuse me. That is why I keep going back to the 15th of October 2021. Do you confirm that you said that as at 15 October 2021, there was no formal relationship or
Now I get to
in terms of which it cannot be that just because of my use of relationship, suddenly you understand me.
No, you said
yes.
You said providing services to EMPD. They're not providing services to EMPD.
Okay.
It's relations when they're working with communities. Because we've got different companies that are contracted, that are providing services to us. I don't want to go out here having another thing.
Okay, maybe then please clarify what the issue about 28 was. It was what exactly? Paragraph 28, your paragraph 28. What was lacking? What was lacking?
It was about working relations with them when they are operating on the ground, not providing services to the city, but working with them when they are executing their crime prevention.
Having cooperation between the EMPD and the security companies.
Yes, Commissioner.
So as of the 15th of October 2021, you say
When there was time for just questions, I wouldn't even call it cross-examination. I would just call it questions. Then Julius Mkhwanazi, then he just fell apart. So at the time, Advocate Sello asks a simple question. At the time you responded to the police chief about your suspension over the blue light scandal, did you have a working relationship with CAT, even if it was not operational yet, CAT VIP? And then Julius says no, and then she immediately reads from his own statement where he says that a working relationship had begun in 2020, caught in an immediate lie. Cornered, Julius tries to reframe it. I was referring to a relationship with Medicare, not with CAT. So this is what we see in a lot of Julius's testimony. He asked for that part of the record to be deleted. Then he asks for that part of the record to be deleted. And he is then further pushed to explain the error. And his reply, it was Mike van Wyk, not CAT. Like I said, he gets confused between the two. And then he said, you know what, my English is running out like airtime. And then Advocate Khumalo pulls out a letter of intention that Julius gave Steyn for registering the donated vehicles. Remember, according to his testimony, Steyn was said you must get a letter of donation. And then Revo Spies is the one who came and shut this whole thing down. Now, the document states that CAT VIP submitted a memorandum of agreement with EMPD, and Khumalo asks which memorandum. So Julius first claims that CAT wrote the letter. Earlier, he had then said it was Van Wyk, and there is confusion. He doesn't know if it was CAT who wrote this letter, whether it was Van Wyk who wrote this letter. And Khumalo would press on and say, like, you need to give us the facts. Like, in my own personal opinion, if you're telling the truth, you shouldn't, have been using these two interchangeably. You would know who you met with, who wrote or gave you the letter. And Julius replies that, you know what, I was just excited that we were going to have vehicles. And that's his explanation. Then Advocate Baloyi digs into Julius's statement that Chief Mapi'i knew about the Medicare memorandum of agreement. And she asks him, is it your position that Mapi'i knew about the Medicare memorandum? And Julius would say yes. And he insists that it was sent to his office. And we know that from Mapi'i's own testimony, we know that this is simply not true. And he declares that Mapi'i is being untruthful by saying that he knew nothing about it. So Revo Spies is lying. Julius is telling the truth. And then we get Advocate Sello versus him again. And now Advocate Sello points out another contradiction in his own statement. Julius says the EMPD engaged CAT as additional support for the 2022 State of the City address. Remember, this is where also members of the DA mayors was there. I'm still going to go into her. She's on the list to be an episode. So she asks, why is your reference to the relationship with CAT in your 2023 response to MAPI about the blue light scandal suddenly an error. So he can't even state when his relationship with the cat began. And he says that, no, that was a different relationship. Because, and like I said, I suspect that this relationship has been going on for a really long time and that these two are actually very close. And Julius was placed in that position for a reason. Let's just think about it. Julius is placed in that position and he is running the department. He is hiring all these people who do not want to have their fingerprints taken. I wonder why. And suddenly he signs an agreement with a company to seize substances. What does this sound like to you? I know what it sounds like to me. Julius provides the commission with what he claims is an actual operation plan for the state of the city address. And Khumalo asks him, where is the original? This is the one that he claims that Revo Spies forged. But we're going to get into who actually forged theirs now, because Julius says that he doesn't have the original because it was sent to IPID. I mean, he uses IPID as an excuse all the time. And Advocate Sello quickly brings up an earlier accusation that he says that Spies submitted a forged plan, and they get the two out and they compare. And there's one that has errors in it, funny paragraphs, inconsistent numbering. And guess what? It's not Revo Spies' version. It's Julius Mkhwanazi's version. This opens the door for Sello's final blow. Computers automatically paginate. I have never in my life seen a computer that goes schizophrenic when it reaches a certain page number. She labels the document that was produced by Julius as highly suspect. There was a particularly tense interaction between him and Advocate Sello as well, which I want to clip in, because I also think this is a case where the mask slipped again. And in this case, they are talking about a sheet of security companies from 2020. And these security companies were provided to the commission by MAPI because these were the security companies that the city had done business with before. Remember, Cat VIP wasn't on the list. And he got very irritated with her. And personally, I did not like the exchange myself. Advocate Sello is a very strong woman. She can handle herself. But you can see that as the evening went on, Julius was himself losing the plot.
Document that tells me about a specific tender, and that defines the scope of the tender for me. And now I must leave what Ekurhuleni City tells me, and I must come listen to you based on the years you have been in Ekurhuleni. Why are we having this conversation?
Please listen to me.
No.
Relax.
No, I'm tired.
I'm talking to what you are reading.
Please address yourself to what is written.
Yes, I'm talking to what you are reading.
Ms. Sello,
Hey, Commissioner,
please
I'm
don't speak when the commissioner is speaking.
As the commissioners continued to cook him, and he continued to mop off the sweat from his face, what happened is that he was caught in lie over lie over lie. So many contradictions, so many lies that we simply cannot even count them all. We have lies about his relationship with Kat. We have lies about the donated cars. We have lies about the blue lights. We have letters that he claims are forged. And the ones that are forged, he claims Revo Spies forged. His own ones are shown to be problematic. He lies that he briefed MAPI. He lies that he did the competency test. He lies about both of those memorandums, can't remember who wrote what. And basically, all of these things have come to a head, and we have to ask ourselves, why is he so nervous? Why does he seem to have such a problem with something as simple as the truth? Now, in court, when confronted with documents, we got to look at his body behavior, and we have to look at the things that he did. He raised his voice, which is something that he was accused of doing by Revo Spies. He accused Spies of forgery, something that the commissioners put forth to him that he in fact himself did. He became emotional, he spoke rapidly, he drank a whole lot of water, and he lost composures. This is when his true self came out towards the end of the testimony. And this case is far from over. And with the contradictions that keep piling up, what do you think? Do you think Julius Mkhwanazi is being unfairly targeted, or do you think that this is one of the biggest policing scandals in South African history? Let me know in the comments below.